Hello there, everyone. The Andrada here. Happy Friday, and welcome back to episode 33 of our Project Architect 2 Let's Play series, where today we are, as you can see, working on automating Archimeat. We are duping EMC. We're also doing a little bit of Ars Nouveau, but we pivot halfway through the episode into a new task, which is this. So yeah, let's get into it. Americans can't switch from pounds to kilograms overnight. That would cause mass confusion. Love me a good science joke there. Welcome back, my friends, to another wonderful day here in the world of the Andrada, where today we got a couple tasks that I'd like to take a look at working on. Last episode, we ended up and we got our Archimeat, which I probably put in the system, maybe. Anyway, we have Archimeat available to us. Where is Archimeat? Didn't I have one? Yes, we have our nice, lovely blob of meat, which can be placed in the world, by the way, and it glows and it looks absolutely horrendously disgusting. But we have our blob of meat. And we talked about last episode about upgrading that in order to get us our transmutation interface, which is my major next goal that I'd like to work on. However, a couple things that I want to do in the interim while we are waiting to be able to get to that point. So if we take a look at the Archimeat, our goal is to get ourselves to the Architron here, right? Getting our Architron. In order to do so, we have to get the Archiveau. And the Archiveau is a enchanting recipe from Ars Nouveau. And we have an enchanting apparatus set up, but we kind of sort of need to automate it. So if we pop over to our enchanting area, I have a couple different things. First, I have some ME source jars. We, a couple episodes ago, automated source production into our ME system, and so I can export them out into ME source jars. It does have to be an ME source jar, so I figured the use out for those. I tried to use regular source jars in an exporter, and then I realized source isn't sort of a thing, so I don't have any way to actually export source. So it has to be the ME source jars, right? Because you can't see source inside of here. There's nothing, right? Even as a liquid. So we have ME source jars. Those are going to provide the source that are needed for the crafts. Down below, I have cables, of course, running to each of these. And then I have a modular router because our setup is going to be actually very similar to how we have Draconic here, outside of the fact that we don't need this comparator or anything like that because Ars Nouveau automatically triggers. So if I want to craft anything, all I have to do is have it go into this chest, into a modular router, have the pattern provider set to lock until primary crafting is returned and keep it on blocking mode. Everything will come into here into the router. We'll put a distributor module to send to the pedestals, and then everything else should be, pretty good. So let's go ahead and set this up. So we're going to grab our pedestals in our distributor module. I did that one already? Yeah, look, it's got the wireframe, so that's good. So we have this, and that's going to distribute the items to the different pedestals. From there, we're also going to have a sender, because it's going to have to send the catalyst into the enchanting apparatus. That's you. And we're going to have to whitelist things there. We'll get to that in a moment. We are also going to need to have this modular router handle the polling of our crafts. So we can go ahead and grab a polar module. And we're going to pull from here into here. And we're going to send from here into here. Easy peasy. So from there, we should honestly be pretty much ready to go, just like with our Draconic, and it should not be terribly too complicated to get these crafts going and set up. We just got to teach patterns to everything. So we come into here and we go and we say, okay, patterns. I need a couple different things. In order to get the Archiveau, we need a couple things. We need a Mark of Mastery. Mark of Mastery is going to be very hard. I mean, I don't want to say very hard. It's really not that complicated. But it does require us to go hunt down another Wilden. So we're going to have to take care of that. So I'll do that at the end. But just like before, we want to go ahead and make sure that our Wilden tribute is the last item that we have going into our router. So we'll teach this recipe. And then we're going to want to go ahead and do our blacklisting thing, just like we did before. So I'm going to come into here. I'm going to say, distributor, you are not going to distribute the Wilden tribute. Don't touch them. I want that to go into the middle. And you are not going to pull a Wilden tribute. I believe This has an input and an output in inventory in it. It's a hidden one. I'm not 100% sure. Blacklisting it is the safe way to make sure that it is done. Ooh, also, good idea, Leandrada. Thank you for remembering. I also should probably make a regulator augment for my distributor to make sure that it only puts one, because sometimes we might have multiple things, like 2 diamonds. So that way it distributes only 1 to each inventory that it has access to. But yeah, okay, so that's the mark of mastery. We're also going to need a containment jar. That one's easy. We can just craft that one. Containment jar. Oh, and I already had one, which means I already picked one up before. So we have containment jar. We need an advanced spell prism, which requires a spell prism, which doesn't seem terribly too difficult to craft either. Okay, bam. Maybe I should be teaching the system how to make these, so that way we can automate this in the future. Yes. Probably a good idea. So let's grab containment jars. We're going to want to know how to make that. We're also going to want to know how to make archwood slabs. We're also going to want to know how to make archwood planks, which is just from some sort of archwood. We can unsubstitute that or allow substitutions for this. You can use any sort of archwood that we have available to us. So that was that thing. We already know how to make all of the different essences, so that's good. The advanced spell prism is going to be this recipe. The spell prism will be this guy. And blocks of quartz I have available. No, but EMC, that's fine. And then from there, all we have to do is get these different turrets, which, again, these things themselves are not too complicated. They do require a few things, but these things are not really that hard to make. Just requires some source. So we're going to want to get our enchanted spell turret. That is going to be the last item on our craft, so we're going to get rid of that, put those. That's good. And then we're going to need to know how to make these 2 things, and this is just for our manipulation one. So we're going to grab an enchanted spell turret. That is this recipe, which is a spell turret at the end. So spell turret, basic, and bada bing, bada boom, that's that. So these are regular crafts. These have to go into our setup. And I want to bookmark the enchanted and the basic because I need to make sure I blacklist those on our system. A focus of block shaping is another enchanting recipe. Now this is where things are going to get complicated, because this requires a manipulation essence to be put in the middle. So I can't blocklist manipulation essence or blacklist it because it's needed for this recipe. That's kind of annoying. So that means that making our mark of mastery is going to be complicated because that means I need to whitelist the sender to make sure that the sender. So we don't want to blacklist this. We want to whitelist this. That way this can only do those things. And we should probably, if it doesn't require 8 though, this is going to operate first, which does not have a blacklist. We need to do that first, I think. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when the time comes for that. Okay, so that takes care of that. Perfect. Done. Nope. Actually, I needed... no, I need the manipulation essence for that. Earth-infused turret is the same process. So we're just going to make these, and then I'm going to make those. I'll be back. I'm not going to make you watch me click through all these and set up all these crafts 100 times. I'll come back when I have them all ready to go. All right, so after going through and prepping all the recipes, the Andrada realized that he wasn't paying very much attention to what was actually needing to be done, because half of these recipes need to go in imbuement chambers, and the other half need to go into the enchanting apparatus. 2 different recipes. So some of the things, like these turrets, they go in an imbuement chamber. But in order to make a turret, I need to get a focus of fire. Well, that goes in an enchanting apparatus. But in order to make that, I need a lesser focus of fire. And that goes into an imbuement chamber. So kind of, sort of a lot of things. Now, I do need marks of mastery for all of these too. So I'm going to have to kill a few wildens. Is it something that I could... Can I capture the Wilden? I need that thing. Can I capture the Wilden and then use a Drigme to get the tribute out of him? Is that possible? Or, I mean, I probably could set up a mob crusher. I wonder if that would work to kill him. We should test that, actually, before I do anything. Get a mob crusher, and then we could automate the ritual. The ritual doesn't cost anything, really, right? I don't think it really did. I'm pretty sure it's a free ritual. You just have to make sure that I put those things into it in order to summon the wild. And it should be doable. Yeah, it should be fairly easy to do, I think. Let's add bookmark a mob crusher. Anyway, with that being said, though, I'm going to put this task on hold because I need to set up some imbuement chambers because I don't have imbuement chambers automated outside of them being able to craft their individual items repeatedly. I could set up one imbuement chamber that does everything. The problem with the imbuement chambers is that they don't take the items away. So I would have to have if I had a modular router set up, if I had a modular router set up, I can change these to operate only in order, right? It has to, where is it at? Always continue. So if I can say terminate on a match or terminate on no match or always continue. So I could put something in there like the modular router sends the items and it only continues if it was able to. Then it waits for the craft to happen, and then if it's able to pull the items out, or if the puller operates, then it'll use a distributor, but the distributor will be on transfer into router mode. Does that make sense? So I'd have a distributor sending out to the items, distributor sending out, then I'd have a puller to send the final craft or to pull the final craft. If that continues, then if it's able to operate, then it moves on to the distributor, which would pull the items off of the imbuement chamber. There's something I'm going to look into. I'm going to test that out in between episodes. And if not, I'll just set up imbuement chambers for these things. I just really don't feel like setting up 10 more imbuement chambers. So I'd like to maybe get one automated for crafting. Anyway, with that being said, we'll pivot this episode into the second task that I want to work on, which is automating our Archimeat. We want more, right? We're not satisfied with just one. We want more, because if we take a look in our quests, I probably should have waited to press the button. If I take a look in my quests for the Archimeat, we can see that it has, it's the start of EMC duping. But if we take a look at it, we get 50 million EMC out of this every time that we push it into our system. And the cost for all of our plushies is, I think it's like 20 million, maybe 25 million. So we have a net gain. If we automate the plushies, we can get the Archimeat in, and we have a net gain of some 20 million odd EMC. So I think I want to go that route. I did also learn that in our EMC, our setup that we have going on, when we're looking at our EMC links, you notice that it has EMC limit 17.59 trillion. As far as I understand, after looking more on the wiki, that EMC limit is not a limit for items piping into the EMC link. That is the limit of EMC generation that link is able to accept, if that makes sense. So if you had the energy collectors set up, these things, you could have one of these going, which supports 40 EMC per second, and you could have tons of them set up. Or in the case of the intention for this portion of the mod is the power flowers, but they're disabled in this pack because the power flowers they're flowers that generate power. It's a multi-block that you set up that generates EMC that you can tier up. They're disabled in this pack, but I believe that's what that limit is intended for, is those things, not necessarily me piping items into and or out of the EMC links, if that makes sense. So we're going to test that absolutely for sure. But I mean, even just now, I believe the EMC that we have, or the EMC link we have now's limit is much less than 32,000, and we're pushing 40,000 in there. So anyway, let's get set up. We need to work on automating this guy. Now, this isn't the fastest thing in the world, but we're definitely going to work on changing that. There is in the pack, it's a motor, right? It's a motor from Create, Crafts, and Additions. This is pretty awesome because you give it power and it can run things. It does require mechanical crafting to get set up, So it's not like the easiest thing we need to get into. We should set up another set of mechanical crafters so we can do this, but it's not something I'm really going to be concerned with right now. We can get this set up and automate it with the power that we have. And it's actually going to be super simple for us to do. All we have to do is get EMC links for each of these things, and then a EMC link down here for the item to actually pipe into. I don't know if we have to have the item pipe into it or into a hopper that pushes into it. Either way, we'll get it going. So we just need EMC links. So I need a total of 9 EMC links plus the input one. So not anything too crazy. So an EMC link, I don't need a really crazy one either, because this is not the fastest craft in the world. So if I have, right now, if I do the basic EMC links that output 1 item per second, I think that's going to be fine. And we don't need anything extra crazy until I expand this setup, which I'm absolutely wanting to do. I'd like to have multiple of these running around and getting our EMC started getting boosted into ridiculous numbers here. One problem I'm going to run into is that I need access to all of these. So we're going to have to go ahead and change this just a little bit. Just basically, instead of having that there, I'm going to have this here and then here, and then now that's going to run again. So easy as that. And honestly, I probably could just put this one. I could change this vertical, and we can stick this here, and then I can take this gearbox and stick it here, and now all of that runs straight over to there, which gives me access to the back, which is where the EMC links need to go. So the EMC links are going to come in, and they're going to go and stack on top of each other. Nope, you're not going to export an EMC link. Thank you. Remember, I need to... Pay attention. Okay, we're going to go... Oh. Boots make me so mad. Or, sorry, leggings make me so bad. Okay, so we have our EMC link set up. Now, remember, it is specific, right? The Archimeat requires you to have things in a specific location. So we need to make sure that we get those locations correct. So we're going to go ahead one at a time. We will go ahead and grab these. We're going to grab a B plushie, right? That costs 2 million. And we'll kind of sort of try and keep track, right? Let's go ahead and grab our this. We're going to say 2 million. And we'll see what the ultimate cost is going to end up being. But here's the B. We're going to go ahead and we'll right click it so that it exports our B plushie. After the B, we're going to have the pig. Mr. Piggy. That's 1 million. So let's go ahead and clipboard that. We got 1 million. And then pig is going to go here. After the pig is the axolotl. That's 10 million for the axolotl. Geez Louise, that one's expensive. So 10 million. You go there. After the axolotl, we're going to have let's just put them in order. Why do I keep doing this? Let's just do that. Okay. So then we have the dragon. We're going to have the goat. Sorry, it's the G.O. It's the greatest of all times. And let's see, that EMC link I don't need you. And honestly, Archimeat, you can go away now too for the moment. Let's grab our warden. Let's grab the wither. And guardian, and then evoker. Oh. Elder. Evoker. Okay, and we can just math 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So yeah, 20 million EMC that's what I guesstimated, and that is correct. I think I said 25. I'm close enough to being right, all right? Okay, so the dragon is going to go in that slot. Okay, I'm going to mess myself up. You go there, you go there, you go there, you go there, you go there. Okay, then the goat. Then the warden. Why do I feel like I already messed it up? I'm just second guessing myself, and I shouldn't do that, but I did. Let's grab the wither into that slot, the elder guardian into there, and then the evoker into there. So that should be all that we need for this portion of the setup. Now let's go ahead and grab an EMC link because we're going to test this. We'll just grab a regular basic EMC link. And I have 2 things I need to test. A, can this push directly into this as an inventory, or do I need to have a hopper to push into and then push into there? And B, can that EMC link handle the output? The only other thing I need to do is get set up is some sort of item transfer, and I could use pipes. We also have in here the translocator. No, it's from Industrial Foregoing. Item transporter. These are pretty cool. They transfer items between blocks, and it's wireless. So, kind of. I mean, I don't know if it's technically wireless. I mean, it is a wireless transfer, but it has to have two of them connected to each other. So it still takes up a block space. So it's not really like wireless, but whatever. So I need 9 sets of those. So I need 18 total, which means it should craft 9. Bam. So what we're going to do is go ahead and set these up, and we're going to go and put them onto each of our EMC links. And we're going to put them on the back of our crafters, which should allow the items to go in. And then all we have to do is say, hey, you're going to receive this, and you're going to see a B moved. And then we just set the receiving on all of these. So you're going to receive, you're going to receive, you'll receive, you'll receive, you'll receive, you'll receive, you'll receive. We'll see all of those have come in. And then finally, as soon as I kick off the last one, everything should come in. It'll auto craft. Then it should end up going into the EMC link. Yes. Yes. And look, 30 million. You saw that, right? 30 million EMC came in. So every time this does, it's going to cost 20 to do, but we gain 30 million every single time this operates. And it's going very slow right now. We can make this significantly faster. We can speed it up using our motors. And we can speed it up by getting more of these set up. So for the cost of 20 million EMC, we're gaining 30 million overall. So pretty dang good. I'm not going to complain. All right. It's a 10 million gain overall. Or I'm sorry. No, it costs 20. We get 30. So yeah, why am I struggling with this math? It's a 30 million gain. It costs 20, but we gain 30. Yeah. I don't know what's going on in my brain right now. Anyway, so yeah, this is just going to continue to operate and run. And like I said, I want more of them. And then eventually we can do the same with the Archivo. We can teach the system how to do this and keep this on a loop, right? Or we can teach the system how to do the Architron. I kind of honestly would rather go this route than this route because the Archivo, this is a pain craft, whereas this is not as complicated. Granted, and these have EMC, so I could just pull out and then bada bing, bada boom. Not too difficult. But yeah, look at that. We're already at 5.3 billion because we're gaining 30 million every 10 seconds or so. I can't complain about that. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. And that is our first steps into EMC duping, essentially. So I like it. I love it. And I want more of it. Absolutely. If you enjoyed today's episode, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, in between episodes, I'm going to take a look at that imbuement chamber setup and see if we need to automate it, or maybe I should just make my one Archivo, manually make this. Then we can get more. Actually, yeah, because I guess it's a 250 million EMC gain for these. But if I immediately use this, I can get an infused Archivo. Interesting. Anyway, if I immediately switch it over to these guys, this is a little bit easier to craft ultimately, except for the Ludicrite block. We're going to have to get into bigger reactors. And the Blazing Rod, which doesn't have a recipe. That's interesting. But yeah, anyway, what am I doing? Putting all this stuff back in the system. Anyway, yeah, if you enjoyed, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate it. It really does help the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next one. Have a good one.